Hey guys, welcome back to another redstone video. I got another furnace array for you guys. I promise it's gonna be the last one for a while. I've been meaning to work on such a big one for quite some time, and now with the recent changes to the minecarts just became the perfect time to work on this one as well. So I'm not really strategic about the release of furnace arrays. Probably I'm gonna get less views in this video because people are tired of it, but I just really wanted to work on that one. Right, so let's check it out. So this is a 1726 furnace array. I'd say the main selling point of this furnace array is that it's of course relatively fast. So both in continuous smelting speed, you can smelt about 620,000 items per hour, but also if you would put it in a single shulker box of items, you would already get it back filled after about 3 minutes, while the main bottleneck is of course how long it would take to fill the items back into the shulker box, which is about 2 minutes of the whole time. Alright, then it's also pretty nice that the fill level of the shulker box is preserved. So if you put in a half-filled box, you also get a half-filled box back. And not only that, it actually uses the same shulker box to fill the items back into. So if you would put in a yellow box with some items, it takes out all the items out of the box, smelts the items, and puts it back into the same yellow box. So I also have some alley sorting here on top. So your yellow box would also end up in the yellow shulker box column here. Then it's also relatively simple for a furnace array of this size. Of course, we had this topic before. It's not absolutely simple, but for a furnace array of this size, it's, I'd say, not too complicated. So I really tried to keep it as simple as possible. As you can see here, this part we mostly have rail logic, and the whole shulker box emptying is basically this part here, distributing it to hopper minecarts. And then this part here, this long stretched one, it's just 12 shulker box fillers. Yeah, and that's it. Now we just have the alley sorting at the top. And of course, we need to do a bit of fuel distribution with just this part here. Alright, so let's try it out. I'm just gonna put in a couple of shulker boxes that are like filled with raw gold and raw iron. Alright, I would say let's put in 9 shulker boxes each. Okay, let's see what happens there. The first thing I actually do is dispense 9 hopper minecarts here with the 3 dispensers and then push them under the shulker box. Right, there's the next batch. This goes rather fast because this has some really sharp timings. So it takes exactly 9.6 seconds to take out all the items out of the shulker box. But we only have 10 seconds before we need to set the next batch of minecarts. It takes 10 seconds to smelt an item. So that's why we only have 0.4 seconds to basically get the first batch of minecarts out, break the box in a way that it isn't picked up by the hopper minecarts, and then push in the next batch of minecarts. So yeah, some sharp timings that just made this barely work. Okay, so the next thing that happens is that we split up the minecarts here with this entity splitter. So basically the minecarts are pushed into the string, which would then close the trapdoor, and this way only a single one can go through. And then we distribute the hopper minecarts over 12 of those furnace arrays, so 192 furnaces, because each of those minecarts exactly contains 3 stacks of items. Okay, maybe let's just follow one of them. So we use the curved rails here. So some people in the comments pointed out should use that. The main benefit is that it's just faster for the item distribution. There's also some downsides to it. You can see here the minecart itself is actually faster than on golden rails, and it also, since it's turned sideways, would also be partially on top of this hopper, so we can basically per rail distribute 2 items to 2 hoppers. Okay, we can actually just follow the minecart here. Then there's another array here at the bottom, and then the same minecart that was just emptied would then pick up the items again out of the hopper output at the bottom. So the downside basically of those curved rails is that the travel speed is not always the same. So depending on the fill level or the weight of the minecarts are either faster or slower. So in case you only have a partially filled minecart, then it would be faster. And this also makes it quite tricky to use a hopper minecart on those curved rails to pick out the items out of the furnaces, because the minecart picking up the items gets faster, so slower over time, while the one distributing items at the top gets lighter or faster. So it would be basically not possible actually to synchronizes in a way that the minecart at the bottom would pick up the items at the same speed the one at the top would put it into. That's why I'm actually using the hoppers here to suck out the items in order to avoid the issue if you have different items that it would basically block the output slot. That's why we have to use the extra hoppers here because of those curved rails. If we would use powered rails, then we could time the minecart perfectly. But there's always upsides and downsides to everything. Right, let's maybe follow it. So this minecart is getting filled up with items. Then at the end, is broken here. So the minecart is put into this water stream and basically put back into the system at the top to the hopper minecart dispensers, and all the items would go into this water stream here. Where they're basically parked here, and we just wait for the shulker box actually to drop down through the string, and it's actually the same shulker box the items were in the first place. So then both the shulker box and the items travel along those water lines and then are dropped into one of those 12 shulker box fillers. As you saw here, there's a system, so every time we got a shulker box incoming, it would lock the next trapdoor here. Fence gate is getting locked and this trapdoor at the bottom is opened. Okay, so this is basically just a repeater locking system. Every time something drops through, then this repeater is unlocked for a moment and then the signal can travel further. At the end, there's just a whole line reset then. Okay, let's maybe take a look at one of those 12 shulker box fillers. That is a bit of a bottleneck here, since this just takes some time until the shulker boxes are getting filled. We already use 4 droppers to fill the shulker box from 4 sides, basically the fastest you can make it, but it just takes some time to put in 1728 items. So they're pretty much the main bottleneck of the whole system. So the way it works is the items actually just go through a normal water stream. There's no hopper minecarts involved. Yeah, the items are picked up by the hoppers here. You just take an output from those hoppers with comparators. Basically a big OR gate, as long as we got some redstone dust here. This observer clock is running, triggering all of the droppers. Yeah, and as soon as this is getting turned off, we break the box. And then we actually don't use a hopper minecart to pick up the item. So we just push up the fence gate here, break the box. The item would then drop down, and then we push it over, and it's picked up by this hopper here. You can see it. It's almost filled. You can just wait it out real quick. Bit of a downside of not using hopper minecarts is that the items are not equally distributed to all the droppers. But yeah, as you can see it. There we go. Now it's getting broken, pushed over, and dispensed into this water stream. Then we got a little clock system. It's kind of important for the lay sorter to not overwhelm it. We trigger this redstone line here to activate the node blocks, and then according to the colors, the allays would pick up the boxes. Okay, as you can see here, all the gold went into this column, and all the iron is now in this column. This was already 18 shulker boxes of items, so what's that? I think it's roughly about 18,000 items or something along those lines. You can see this is rather quick for 18,000 items. Not sure where I got that number from. It's actually about 31,000 items that we smelted in about 5 minutes and got back as filled shulker boxes. So one of the main benefits of this furnace array is that it would preserve the fill level of the box and the box itself. So I also want to show off the system with a bit of a weirder input. So we got all kinds of different items here. Partially filled boxes, then boxes that are partially filled with different items, and so on. Also want to try out the furnace array here with this. So I prepared this box here with a mixture of those shulker boxes. Just gonna put it on top here. There's actually one. Oh, we're still tick warping. Shouldn't do that. There's actually one issue. If you would put in a box that has like 12 different items or so, the hopper minecarts obviously wouldn't be able to pick up 12 different items because they only have 5 slots. So it is kind of obvious that this would cause some issues. As far as I know, it wouldn't really break the system. It would basically just not take out some of the items out of the system, and then you get the box back with some of the items being unsmelted. So that's one smaller issue, but I would say people that use a 1728 furnace array probably won't use the furnace array in such a way anyway, right? I mean, why would you put in such a huge amount of different items to such a big furnace array? So it's no problem if you have like 3 different items, the furnace array can definitely handle that. The idea to use the array sorting here at the top came actually from the comments from the last furnace array video. Somebody suggested to have that. I think it's actually a pretty nice thing to have. So this could maybe be the furnace array for a big server. And then technically somebody could have a smaller project on his own while the furnace array is running and quickly throw his boxes in that are color coded. So maybe you have your maybe a bigger slice of boxes for the default color where most of the stuff goes, and then maybe you can just color code his couple boxes pink or whatever and have his own output of his boxes without interrupting anything or having to wait for somebody else to be finished. You can just put his stuff on top while the furnace array is running. So it's definitely a nice feature to have, but of course this would be optional, this whole array sorting at the top. Alright, so while the furnace array is still running, we can also maybe talk about the fuel system. So this is also a rather simplistic fuel distribution for 1700 furnaces in basically this footprint, and then of course the rails to distribute everything. So I'm using charcoal again, but the furnace array would also work with blaze rods, normal coal, coal blocks, or kelp blocks. So the way it works, we actually take an output from each first furnace in the array, because this one is basically used every time any of those furnaces is being used. So yeah, we just take an output and have a big OR gate at the top in case we fall below a certain threshold, so less than 13 coal in there. We would start this 77 second clock that would launch the chest boats in a minecart. We can maybe check. Yeah, there's one going over the furnaces right now. Just goes here in between the fast rails. And it's quickly distributing the items. Maybe you can catch it real quick. See what's inside. Yeah, some charcoal in there. Okay. Then at the top we have 10 shulker box unloaders. So we could get around 90,000 coal per hour that is being put into the furnace array. So we need at most around 78,000 per hour. So this is definitely enough. So it's just a really simple system. We just have hoppers that would fill the chest boats from many sides. You can see here, in case this is getting parked. Yeah, here it comes in. Let's see, this is getting filled really quickly. Kind of hard to actually right click it. There we go. See, this is being filled in no time. So we have a chest boat basically for the top part and the bottom part. And hoppers are basically just having items trickling through, filling the bottom part and top part. Of course, this actually fills it quicker than we can unload the boxes here, but of course this keeps running while the chest boat is on its way. So the hoppers are getting filled up right now. So everything happens really fast. Furnace array is already finished again. So I started taking out the boxes again so I can check if everything was smelted correctly. Alright, next patch, basically that on survival to actually get rid of it out of my inventory. And let's have a look. Those were the single items. All good. Here the mixed items, of course, the order isn't preserved. But yeah, everything was put back correctly. Pork chops here, this was also mixed items. Partially filled. 18 stacks of kelp. Emerald ore. Yeah, potatoes here, 9 stacks each. Lapis got smelted. Of course, it's really bad, but with a creative world, it doesn't matter. So as you can see, yeah, it worked fine. Last thing to talk about is lag. So while it's not running, around 9 MSPT, and while it's running around 15 MSPT. Obviously a furnace array of this size, regardless if it's hopper locked or not, I would not recommend this built anywhere near your base or where it's being loaded all the time. So definitely build it in a separate area where it's only getting loaded while you're using it. And the thing is so fast, you probably won't load it a lot anyway. Alright, so in case you want to check this out or even build it, there is a world download in the video description. As soon as Medica will be released for 1.19, it should be fairly straightforward to build this. Also have to say this furnace array is directional, so it's really important you have to build it in the same direction. Already because of this minecart dispensing system here, which for some reason is directional. I can quickly show this off here. As you can see, this works fine. Dispense multiple minecarts on a rail. You have it the other way, and this happens. Alright, so that's why it's already directional. And of course the rail placing here might also be a bit annoying. There's even one more downside of doing it this way. In case it's not clear how to do it. Okay, so this is one of the directions where I need like redstone blocks on the side to keep the rails powered. Yeah, you have to also start from the right direction. You can see here. This way you can place the rails. Okay, if you would go the other way, then you don't need the power source on the side. And this can also be removed in the end again. Alright, that's all for today. Thanks guys for watching and see you next time. Bye bye!